All right, so we currently here at Skydive Key West, right in Miami, and this is the first time skydiving. Now, the thing about it is that the atmosphere is sectionized into four main layers. We have the troposphere, which is closest to the ground, the stratosphere, the mesosphere, and then we have the thermosphere. Now, we will actually be jumping off approximately 18,000 feet above the ground. There would be a 1 minute free fall and approximately 7 minutes gliding to the parachute.
Oh, here we are! Welcome to Skydive Key West, YouTube. Ready to defy gravity. First time you're jumping out, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's have some fun, boys. Let's do it.
Great experience. Big shout out to family, friends, members of staff at work, students, everyone. Excellent.
Congratulations, thanks for the jump.
Real.
We'll see you next time.
We set sail on this new sea because there is new knowledge to be gained and new rights to be won.
After having just skydived, our next location was none other than the Kennedy Space Center, which revolves around activities way beyond that of any plane which flies within the troposphere, and is of course situated on Merritt Island, standing as one of the 10 NASA field centers. Being one of the main launch sites, this center facilitates research and scientific observational exploration, which extends beyond our atmosphere. Now, it is indeed a marvel to observe the feat that mankind has in fact achieved, given the level of infrastructural development and the pooling of investments to build one of the most expensive man-made structures in the world. That is the International Space Station, where there were, of course, a major collaboration amongst a number of countries. In just a few centuries, we have gone far and wide to build and even deploy satellites around the Earth. And we also have telescopes which can even get us a glimpse of distant and even relatively close solar systems. All those who served within this particular field have in fact been immortalized for their contribution never being forgotten. Undoubtedly, these explorations would yield more profound rewards with the progression of time. On our way back from the Kennedy Space Center, the weather changed dramatically. The Florida Peninsula rests between the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico and is largely influenced by the Gulf Stream, which contributes to warm maritime conditions that leads to dense cloud cover, rainfall, and thunderstorm conditions. Prior to the advent of a heavy downpour, this lightning storm was in fact recorded at Ocoee in Orlando. Surrounding this particular housing area, there is in fact a trail which leads through a forested section, where many of the residents utilize this for recreational purposes. Usually at nights, the animals, specifically the black bears, were reported to have been seen in and around the housing community, where they were in fact captured by surveillance cameras foraging for food within the periphery. Due to the weather conditions, we decided to engage upon an indoor activity, and that actually took us to the Oak Ridge Gun Range in Orlando.
Appreciate y'all coming down. HookersGunRange.com.
Alligators are very heat sensitive. They like a body temperature of 25 degrees Celsius. So it's way beyond that right now. And they use the water and the shade to, the shade of the taller vegetation to keep themselves cool. The males will grow to be about 5 meters long, and the females will grow 3 meters long.
This tour is given the designation as a drive-through safari. However, a safari is associated with the observation of animals in their natural habitats. Some of these animals are not even native to this particular part of the world. Hence, this location is not a true safari, despite the fact that the animals exist in an open area and visitors are allowed to view them, feeding within the periphery while driving around.
Even Alright, so we actually on our way here to SeaWorld. Just to view some of the animals and some of the slides. This is in fact not a ex situ conservation site.
Now, any topic relating to SeaWorld is very touchy and is in fact a very controversial one. There are, of course, many rides and slides and props which are exclusively for entertainment purposes, which attract a significant number of visitors daily and by extension annually. However, there are in fact many activists and environmental groups that have shown constant disapproval with regards to the containment and the overall harboring of animals, highlighting numerous ethical issues. Firstly, these animals do not belong in captivity, but instead in their natural habitats. Secondly, it is not their ecological functional role to entertain people, rendering this particular arena driven mainly for economic reasons and not for sustainability purposes. If it were, why are these animals still here? Why aren't they rehabilitated and released, instead of spending years upon years being cash tools for the organization? Thirdly, a severe dependency scenario is created where these animals are trained and they are in fact rewarded with food based upon the tricks and the performances that are deemed worthy. Now, naturally, they would acquire their own food through hunting and foraging, but think for a minute the potential adjustment issues where the animals are in fact reintroduced into the wild after years being nurtured in containment. This would result in their instinctive abilities to be hindered, and this can negatively impact their survivability. The fourth point focuses on the containment. The containment area is in fact not even near the size of their range in their real habitats. It is in fact so small and shallow, and this can result in potential psychological or perhaps behavioral health issues in these animals that would result in harm to themselves and by extension their trainers or handlers. Now, I personally believe that this fifth point is one of the most fundamental points. Funding and emphasis should be placed upon protecting the natural ecosystems where these animals were initially derived. The true spectacle is viewing these animals in their natural, healthy environment, more or less detached from human controls and infrastructure. That, my friends, is something worth paying for.